What is good, everybody? Welcome to the Gold Standard Podcast Instant Reaction Show. I'm Rob Stats Guerrera. The San Francisco 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. Your San Francisco 49ers are going to the Super Bowl because they just pulled off what is now tied for the biggest comeback in the history of the NFC Championship Game. I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. I was running around like a psychopath. I can't believe that just happened. We just saw one of the most amazing plays in games, in the history of the NFL. Not just 49ers history, NFL history. This doesn't happen. And yet it happened for us. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe what we just saw. And you could throw into the sun forever the stats about Kyle Shanahan and not getting a lead and Brock Purdy and struggling to come back and playing from behind because this team was down 17 points at halftime. At halftime, down 17 points. And they went into the fourth quarter tied. So you could throw those into the sun for all time. For all time. This is incredible what just happened. What the 49ers have done, they feel like a team of destiny. They feel like a team of destiny. When Brandon Ayuk catches that pass off the Lions defender's face mask, oh my God, you're like, I can't believe that just happened. Babe Marin, YouTube channel member, oh my God, oh my God. Exactly. Unreal. Sign me 29 watching on Twitch says, did they let the Lions get up on purpose just to come back? Holy crap. Oh, look at this. I just saw this comment from Joel. Stats, I changed. I shaved at halftime. There you go, Joel. That's why it turned around, baby. Everybody had to do their part. Oh my God, my heart can't take it. Whoa, baby. Andre Garibay says, took this defense forever to wake up, love or hate Brock. He made some key amazing plays with his legs or they would not be here. Let's go 49ers versus Swifties. Absolutely. How many plays in this game would have been sacks with other quarterbacks? But Brock Purdy did it, baby. Ben Taylor, YouTube channel member, for your stats, 3 wardrobe changes in dosed half. Nothing worked. Got in car and listened to the second half on the radio. Go Niners. Eat it, Ryan Clark. Yeah, Ben Taylor. Thank you very much, Ben. Love it. Love everybody. Larkin with a huge super chat. $100 YouTube channel member. Bang, bang. How about them Niners, baby? Also, the Ayuk miracle catch was unreal. It absolutely was. Levin Black, unless he's in some sort of cave that he locked himself in when the Niners were down, is going to join us in a minute, of course, as he always does, here on the Instant Reaction Show. If I know my computer sound effects properly, that's him. Levin, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Cheers.
Let's go. Let me open up my Red Zone lager here and celebrate with you.
I got a Italian wine, but it's sparkling wine, so it's like champagne, but
all right. Hey, I ain't going to criticize anything on this night. We'll get into everything.
There will be a few criticisms, but we'll save them for the second half of the show. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Hell yeah, we are. We are going to.
I never doubted for a minute. You're not allowed to talk about my text messages.
No, we are not. We'll get to all of it, but I just wanted to really quickly let everybody know about our YouTube channel sponsor, Community Tree Service LLC. They do it all. Tree trimming, land clearing, hazard tree removal, home fire hardening, debris removal from the Central Coast to the Bay Area. Estimates are free. Call them 831-763-2391. Email estimating@cts831.com or visit their website, communitytree.com, to schedule an appointment. I imagine there will be some celebrations taking place in some front yards. If you need somebody to help clean it up, give them a call. Mention you're a Niners fan. You get a $200 discount on your quote. They are licensed by the California State License Board, license number 1100816. Levin, this is one of the great games in NFL history. NFL history, not just Niner history. This is tied for the biggest comeback ever in the NFC Championship Game. It's absolutely incredible. We've got so many super chats. The Garonis, holy crap, I golfed my pants 3 times. David Bachman says, we're going to Vegas. Niners, baby. Just wondering, they ran the ball so well, and Campbell called 2 passes on 4th and short.
Before we lose track of this one, because it's not a super chat, let's just say we're in the Luxor. So everybody is aware we will be around.
Let's go. Let's freaking
Did your
go.
son make it through the game?
Yes, he did. Let me tell you, at halftime, he was crying on my shoulder. I said, look, if this is too painful, I get it. I said, you can go to bed. And you know what? He gutted it up. He stayed up, and he absolutely did it. So shout out to Thomas and Levin.
Yeah, he must get that from his mother.
Shut up. We're going to the Super Bowl, and you're being a jerk to me. I thought the entire game shifted. And, you know, Kyle Shanahan said it. Right? What did Kyle say when they asked him about Dan Campbell being aggressive on fourth down? He said, yes, that's opportunities for the offense, but it's also opportunities for us on defense. And that is exactly where this game turned, because the Lions were up. They were kicking the 49ers' butts, and it's 24-10, and they get in field goal range. It's 4th and 2 at the Niners' 28-yard line. And I know a field goal is not guaranteed, but they went for it, and Josh Reynolds dropped the pass. And from that point on, the 49ers dominated the game. They billy clubbed the Lions, and they just stormed back. It was like the Lions gave the 49ers life. They just opened that door a crack, and the Niners burst through it.
Yeah, I think that the Lions were maybe showing their youth, showing the fact that they haven't been there before in that second half. Not only did the Niners fix their scheme issues and fix their play, because in that first half they were outcoached and outplayed, period. But in the second half, I feel like they fixed those, but it was Detroit's mistakes that left that door open. Like you said, Reynolds dropped it. If he catches that, the Niners don't make the comeback. They had another drop on a third down a couple drives later. If he catches that, the Niners don't have the comeback. If they catch the interception instead of Ayuk getting a 51-yard gain, the Niners don't have the comeback. And that's sometimes what it takes to come back.
That's what
that's what you see when this is the Niners' 4th time in 5 years on that stage. This is the Lions' first time on that stage since 1991. And I think you saw that difference because the Lions made a bunch of mistakes in the second half.
That's every comeback ever, though. You can't come back from that far down unless the other team biffs down their leg. And the Lions.
Yeah, that's why I tweeted at halftime that it's going to take luck and talent.
And that's what I said the same thing, because I tweeted, hey, it's when it was a 14-point game. I tweeted, hey, it's not over yet. And then someone quote tweeted me later when it was 17 and said, are you sure about this? When it was halftime. And I was like, look, there's 2 quarters left, man. Warlock is so full of it. He says, I felt like I was the only one who said trust the process and never worried at all in the first half. Go 49ers and draft another quarterback.
Assuming this is the same Warlock that spells it that WYRLOK that's on Twitter. Yeah, he's full of it.
Yeah, he was MF and everything.
He tags us in a lot of tweets.
I saw you in the mentions, Warlock. John Veen, YouTube channel member. Shout out to all our YouTube channel members. If you want to become one, it's less than $3 a month. I promise you, we will make it worth your while. You get priority comment response, custom emojis, membership badges. Please, please, please consider it. If you want to go to $4 a month, you get early access to our 49ers in 5 news update. That's every weekday for you. Please do. It's a great way to support the channel. John says, Brock Purdy's halftime speech. We have to come back. I want to see Taylor Swift, and I can't afford tickets on my salary. I don't know what was said at halftime. But you know what it reminded me of, Levin? It actually reminded me of the Super Bowl against the Ravens when they were down big, and it was the same thing, right? They give up the touchdown coming out of halftime, but then all of a sudden the lights go out, they come back on, everything swings in the 49ers' favor, including a fumble by a running back, which was unbelievable. I can't believe that happened. I have no explanation for how that happened, and I don't care because we're in the goddamn Super Bowl.
So I'm going to toot my own horn because I'm Levin Damas tonight.
Explain.
Until they got that last touchdown, I had the score perfect. But
so you
missed that one.
The score perfect.
But I had Purdy's stat line almost dead on. He had an interception instead of a second touchdown. But the big ones were, I tweeted that that Ayuk has 1 catch for 11 yards. He needs to make a splash. Very next snap, as I'm hitting send on that tweet, was the 51-yard catch. Then after they scored that touchdown, I tweeted, perfect time for the defense to have that turnover that flips the game. Guess what happened that very next drive?
Yeah, well, gee, no one else was hoping for a turnover on that.
I tweeted it. The Niners owe me $1 million. They owe me $1 million. I made it possible for them to win this game.
You want a ring, huh? That's it? You want a chip?
Yeah. Save the $1 million. Give me a ring. That's a little bit cheaper.
Sinan says, I can't believe we just did that. I can't believe I just watched that. It's 4 a.m. here, and I probably woke up every single one of my neighbors. Purdy came in clutch again, though he looked a little shook. Doesn't matter. Let's finish this. It's so amazing, Levin, how at times for much of this game, the offense just simply did not look right. It looked broken. Everything was so hard. It was all 5-yard gains, 6-yard gain, 4-yard gain. We weren't getting any of the chunk plays. And then we really didn't for most of the game. There was a couple. There was one by McCaffrey. There was one by Kittle. For the most part, it was grinded out. It was Brock Purdy using his legs to scramble and make some huge runs. It reminded me of Patrick Mahomes.
He was damn near as good as you can be in the second half.
I mean, look, he's erasing the narratives. I mean, now he's down. Is this enough for you, Keyshawn Johnson? Huh? Is 17 points in the second half of an NFC Championship game enough points before you give Brock Purdy credit, or does it not count for some other bullshit?
Include Amy Trask in that. You can include Amy Trask there. Hi, Amy, if you're watching.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she said anything that terrible about Brock Purdy.
There's 7 good quarterbacks, and then there's Brock Purdy. You're not even calling him good? You're not putting him at least on the golf level? Come on.
Don't worry about naysayers right now. Just be happy, man. We're going
brought up Keyshawn.
That's true. The Gueronis changed my... Hold on.
I didn't mean to click. My finger might be a little worn out. And
Levin also tweeted he wanted an overhaul and new leadership.
Yeah. I was going to address this. I said if they lose this, I think they need an overhaul, new leadership. And I explained that means change out the entire defensive coaching staff. And yes, that means the defensive line coach.
Yeah.
I do think the defensive coaching staff is getting an overhaul. I don't think Wilkes is back. Despite
the Guerrero.
That was my point, was that, I said if they lose, they need to make a bunch of changes, and that some of the big names, they need to change the voices that are in that locker room.
Well, guess what? We don't have to worry about that.
They didn't lose.
Because we ain't changing nothing right now. The Guerroni says, changed my jersey, did the dishes, starting folded laundry, pretended I didn't care. So much agita. See, you got to switch it up, Levin. I've gotten so many messages before you hopped in of people saying I changed my shirt. One guy said he stopped watching on TV and went in his car and listened on the radio. That's what you need to do in these situations. Extreme circumstances call for extreme measures.
If it makes you feel like you're part of it, kudos to you. I'm just not going to sit here and say that it actually had an effect, in my opinion.
David Sanders says, enjoy Vegas. Let's go. We will. Absolutely. Hassan Khan, CJ Gardner is such a loser. He had a cheap shot on Deebo Samuel on the interception return. There was another play with CJ. I can't remember. I wrote it down in my notes. He did something.
He waved to the crowd in the first half saying bye-bye, like the game was over. So.
Interesting. I'm fascinated to see what Dan Campbell says after the game. Chris Waddell, thank you for the super chat. Lamar Purdy in the second half, apparently. I almost died no less than 3 times. Was so mad. Thought they were getting boat raced. So crazy. Kyle is now 2-30 in come from behind wins. Screw the stupid narratives. Now get CMC's neck ice down, please. Yeah, I thought it was interesting. He wasn't in there at the end of the game, Levin.
Yeah, I think that last run where he landed on his helmet with all his weight, like he was fully upside down, probably did not feel very good, and he probably will be hurting a little bit. But the good news is there's 2 weeks.
Amen. Chase says, Purdy rushes Woody in the wet blanket to the bowl. Hell yeah, baby. You know what? You need to talk for a little, Evan, because I got to reapply for my credential now that the Niners are in. By the way, there's 957 people watching right now. Thank you. That is so much. If you're new here for the first time, we really appreciate it. Please like and subscribe to the channel. If you hit the like button, more people can find us. So please, please, please smash that like button so we can get as many people involved as possible. Jordan G, YouTube channel member, says, BA said a ladybug landed on his shoe today on Fox. Well, whatever, man. God bless that ladybug.
Yeah, that's funny. See, you put that one up, but not this one from my mother saying the same thing. Why you got to shaft my mother there?
I didn't see. Well, thank you, Carol Black. By the way, you're the one that just said shaft my mother.
Yeah, I know. I realized it as a saying. I was like,
inappropriate.
I hope he doesn't, pick up on this and decide to point it out. But of course you did.
Of course I did. I
don't treat you that way. Jeez.
That's the kind of guy I am. Strawberry reacts. Lions receivers in the second half were looking like Chiefs receivers all season. Clang, clang, clang. You know what? I said it to, I don't know if I said it to you, Levin, but I definitely said it to Michelle. I think it got in their heads a little bit. Like, oh my God, if we just don't screw this up, we're going to the Super Bowl. That's a real thing. And it's something that is a natural human emotion in a spot that you haven't been in for a really long time. And I think it started to snowball on them, especially after the fumble, right? Because what happened? The Lions tried to go back to their bread and butter. We've been dominating on the ground all game long. We'll settle this down. Don't worry about it. And on the first play of the drive, boom. I didn't see who forced it. I saw that Armstead recovered it. I don't know who forced it, but Niners forced it.
Was in a mess of, I think, Warner and Greenlaw were in there. So it was one of those two, but I couldn't tell on the replays either which one of them actually were the ones that got the ball out.
They don't have it in the box score, which is weird because they usually do.
I wonder because there was a Lions offensive lineman in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if maybe the offensive lineman backed up or something like that into his hands, and so they're not crediting a defensive player.
JCG 1987 says Brock sucks and the Niners can't come back. Not. The national media was ready to have a field day. They were changed in that last half hour of the game. The takes changed. Kyle Shanahan was going to be fired, and Brock Purdy, was going to be go get Kirk Cousins in the offseason. And guess what? None of that is happening now because the Niners are going to the Super Bowl, baby.
You know who might be most upset about this comeback?
Nick Wright?
Lamar Jackson. Because Purdy playing the way he did in the first half was going to let him off the hook. Because Purdy was going to be taking the hits. And now, all that negative talk, the offseason narrative of this guy can't win it is Lamar's.
Full White's YouTube channel member had to take off my Kittle jersey at halftime. I thought that would help, and it did. Now we're going to the Super Bowl. LFG.
I still got my Kittle jersey shirt on underneath.
Well, you better be wearing that in 2 weeks. I'll tell you that. Samuel Bonilla says, man, I lost 10 years to the Packers, 10 more to the Lions. If we win the Super Bowl, that could be 10 more. Gosh, I'm going to die at 40. Thanks, 49ers. Please, 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 let's get revenge for 2019. Can I just say quickly, there is no revenge for 2019. Even if the Niners beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you don't get the championship in 2019. You can even the odds, but that's it.
Yeah. By the way, let's freaking go because we just hit a new record. I see 1,033 live. I think 1,014 was the highest I saw. 1,047 now. It's still going up.
Oh, yeah.
Did this people in the chat, did the ceremony just end?
Yeah, like and subscribe. Keep doing it, baby. Let's go. Pass it along. Joseph Faccio, ditch the Kittle shirt at halftime for the CMC shirt. Bang, bang, Niner game. Niner gang. NFC champs. What the comeback? Alex Bach, YouTube channel member. I like this. Real OBJ CDT. Purdy isn't the weak link. It's the offensive line upgrade.
Sure.
How many plays did Purdy make, though? This was not a typical Niner game. It wasn't drop back to pass, first read open, get them. It was Purdy. That third down play where he scrambles around and throws that pass to Juwan Jennings, which Jennings catches with one hand. This was a Purdy game. I know he was shaky for parts of it. I know he was, but this is now 2 straight weeks in the playoffs when everything is going wrong, and Brock Purdy got it done, and he deserves a hell of a lot of credit for it.
He stabilized on the final drive last week, and that's what was needed. That was just enough to get the job done. He stabilized after halftime in this game, and that was just enough to get it done with as bad as the first half was. He had a great second half. The scrambles were the key because without those scrambles, this wasn't a contest. Without those scrambles, the Niners probably still lose by double digits. Those scrambles kept drives alive that led to touchdowns.
I completely agree with you. The ability to use his feet and turn a potentially negative play into a positive, not just a positive play. No. For some of them, he's going 10, 20 yards down the field, chunk plays. That's, that's where a lot of the chunk plays came from was freaking Purdy.
And what did I say? Right from the start, when Purdy first got the starting gig, if it can just be Jimmy Garoppolo who can scramble, who can turn a sack or two a game into positive gains, that's enough for this team to eventually win a Super Bowl. And they won this game because of that. Purdy didn't have the best game passing. He still had a few passes that were inaccurate in the second half. But those scrambles, and he was a good enough passer, were enough to get the job done.
This is unbelievable. I can't believe I haven't even had time to process it because I celebrated with my son and then I ran down here. I'm still it's still coming together for me. So I'll get my takes together. Salim, I think Salim. I'm going to go with Ray Salim says, anyone else see CJ Gardner-Johnson wave bye-bye to the crowd during the first half? 3 a.m. in the UK. My beer is Belgian, whiskey infused, 12% alcohol by volume, and I had to have 3 of them to get through the second half.
Hey,
Ray.
And he's still here sending us super chats. That is a guy that knows how to drink.
Yeah. Lauren Klein, did Ayuk earn his payday on that catch? Well, there was a report before.
That's what I tweeted.
Did you see the report before the game that said the Niners want Ayuk long-term and his contract is a priority in the offseason?
Yeah, from Ryan Hensley, or did you see somebody else also say it?
No, it was an NFL Network person.
Okay.
I can't remember who it was. By the way, 1,341 people now watching. Yep. Smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're live every single weekday for you. We do a 5-minute news update in the morning every single weekday.
And we're going to be in Vegas for Media Week. We're going to be live immediately after the Super Bowl because Rob and I have both decided we're going to leave Vegas to come home so that we can stream immediately after the game, and also we kind of want to watch it with our families because it's kind of a special thing.
Gray Fox 198. I'm at the stadium and yes, I'm crying. That was unbelievable. New YouTube channel member ZM8Y. Thank you very much. Appreciate the super chat. Matthew Rowley, still have to fire Wilkes and I turned it off. Went to a different room and listened to it on the YouTube at the half.
Hold on. I figured out that previous name. It's not ZM8Y. It's Z-Matey.
Z-Matey? All right.
Yeah, I was like, that 8 is weird. What's that mean? That's got to mean something. Z-Matey.
Right. So many people like Matthew who switched it up. Change the shirt, move to a different location.
I said, if it makes you feel good, go for it. Do what you think matters. I don't personally think it changes anything, but I'm just some guy in my basement right now, right?
Antonio says, a YouTube channel member, says they effing doubted us all week long. Niners on top of the NFC once again. On to Vegas, baby. Let's go. And you know what? Sorry, America. Sorry. You don't get your Lions. You don't get the underdog story. You don't get 2 weeks of Dan Campbell biting kneecaps and drinking coffee.
You don't get Eminem and Taylor Swift.
Nope. Sorry, we ruined it for you. Guess what? Tough. This is how you win games. You grind it out, man. This team showed so much character tonight. So much character. And they said it after the Packers game that we needed a win like this. Kyle Shanahan told the Fox crew, we've never had a game like that before. If you are the 49ers, don't you have to have in your mind right now something like this is our year? I mean, if you were down 17 in the third quarter of the NFC Championship game and you didn't lose, you have to have this unshakable confidence right now.
The Super Bowl matchup is all about, is it a dynasty or is there a true contender to go toe-to-toe with Kansas City? Because these two teams have already squared off and won the Super Bowl. And if Kansas City wins, they will have won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years, which I believe only Pittsburgh has ever done that before, which was in the 70s.
The Patriots never did it?
I don't think they won 3 and 4. I think they won 3 and 5, but I could
Maybe
be wrong.
2 of 3, I'm thinking.
They won 2 in a row at one point, so.
Somebody tweeted a picture of Brock Purdy with the NFC Championship trophy and says this guy's not any good, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I do enjoy that. Well done. Daza 0187. How long has everyone been saying the run defense needs to be better? It was awful in the first half. They need to make massive improvements there. It wasn't good in the first half. It felt like the reverse of the Packers NFC Championship game in 2019. It was demoralizing. But that's another thing, Levin. They could have gotten demoralized. They could have given up. Yeah. They could have said, oh my God, we blew it again. This is so terrible. They're running all over us. Right. And they never did that. They never did that. On that 4th down play, I know he dropped it. Whatever. He dropped it. Like, it still counts as a 4th down stop. And then I think the fact that the Niners got the ball back and put points up on the board, just, it kept them alive. It kept them continuing to stay in the game. Mm-hmm. And they could have packed it in, and they never did.
I did notice one change. I don't know for sure that it was the difference of why the run defense was better in the second half. But one change I did notice, every single play, damn near, especially early downs, they had Greenlaw and Warner on the line of scrimmage. And I think the plan there was, all right, they're fast enough to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen is they're going to see, and if it's a run, they're going to be hitting that offensive line. The offensive line is going to be outnumbered so that they can't push the defensive line back because they're already outnumbered. If it's a pass, we're going to trust their speed and ability to get back into the passing lanes. That's at least what I noticed. I was watching it and I saw it probably like, I want to say probably 60 to 70% of the plays in the second half. That's what they were doing.
Check out, if you're watching on the stream, you could see the sphere in Vegas has turned into a 49er in a 49ers helmet.
Yeah, we're definitely going and like,
yeah, we are.
That thing I want to see it. We might not be able to get in, but I definitely want to see it.
Ghost of Julia Roberts, new YouTube channel member. Yeah, we're getting in. Business expense, baby. Shawnee Chipotle, YouTube channel member, says, Purdy, please save us. He absolutely he came through when he needed to, man. Julie Pascal came right here after the game to see how hyped you would be. I've never seen a defense turn around like that. Let's go. You know, I got to give credit to, yes, the defense. But before that, Christian McCaffrey is so damn good in this. And you're going to look at this box score and you're going to see 24 touches for 132 yards. And you're going to say, that's a really good game. It's not going to describe how good the game was. There were so many runs with Christian McCaffrey where it looks like there's nothing there. And he just waits and waits and twists his body and squirms and squeezes all the yards that are possible out of every play. There were so many runs that could have been 2-yard gains that were 4-yard gains or 5. And that changes the rest of the sequence of downs.
This game was just, it kind of had a little bit of everything, right? It had a couple turnovers. It had one team come out and just destroy the other team. And then you had the big comeback in the second half. It got tied at the end. You had an onside kick to finish. All of those things. And you have all the like little anecdotes that make it extra special. Like the biggest comeback in NFC Championship history coming into this was 1957 when the 49ers led 24-7 at halftime over the Lions, and the Lions came back to win that game. What happened in this game? The Lions led 24-7, and the Niners came back to beat them.
How dare you forget the Niners coming back against the Falcons in the NFC Championship game? Were they not? It was 20. Was it 22-6?
Yeah, that's less. That's 16.
Oh, that's 16. All right, my quick math is not what it used to be.
Your quick math has never been that great.
Shut up, Levin.
Don't question me on math. Have you not learned this lesson?
Antonio says, went on a walk at halftime feeling depressed. Saw the IU catch on Instagram and laughed. Saw the fumble and thought, holy bleep, it's not over. Proceeded to sprint the entire mile back home. I'm so dizzy. Antonio, thank you for the service, man. I'm telling you, you don't think it matters? Look at how many people. There's juju in the air, man. I'm telling you that it matters. Tim, shout out to Rita Oak for memeing the 49ers destiny, and also my corgi Finn for giving this energy even though he didn't know why. Yeah, Rita Oak was drawing the Niners every day until they got to the Super Bowl. Your watch has ended, Rita.
Yeah, she's going to come up with a new one, I'm sure. Might be until the 49ers win a Super Bowl this time. But look, this night could have been so bad. Like personal reasons and the football game. Like the football game was going terribly, but my kid also decided to get really sick tonight. So she was like literally sleeping on me all first half, and I went and put her down at halftime, and she's gotten up a couple times, but luckily we haven't had that moment of like really bad stuff. And then of course, obviously the Niners came back, but I was just sitting there. That was my thoughts at halftime. I was sitting there quietly thinking, how could this have gone any worse? The Niners are getting blown out. My kid is literally sick, and I haven't been able to concentrate on the game all too much because she's literally been in my arms the whole time.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that, man. I hope she's feeling better. And I'm glad the Niners came back to win. Look at this graphic from NBC Sports. Biggest comeback in NFC Championship game history. I was right. Niners at Atlanta was 17. And Niners against Detroit was 17. It is tied for the biggest comeback in NFC Championship game history. So I do doubt you would.
I wonder why they don't have the other one, because it was considered an NFC Championship game in 1957, even though it's before. Like they had the graphic in the game that the largest comeback in NFC Championship game, like it had it on the bottom saying something like, largest comeback in NFC Championship history.
Chris Waddell says, by the way, Niners are favored by 2.5 against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's the whole.
That's not surprising because they had the best odds at winning the Super Bowl, even over the Ravens. So
we'll have plenty of time to break that down. Don't worry. But thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate you dropping it in. Canis Rufus says, just here contributing to the record viewership. We're going to the Taylor Swift Bowl, baby. Almost 1,700 people watching right now. Thank you, everybody, for hopping in. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We are live every single weekday for you. I promise you, we will earn your time. Give us a chance. You will not regret it. I promise.
We're live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Are we live on anything else? I don't know if Instagram allows this long.
I can only afford for 3 sources, so that's
that's right. They limit you.
Wetbridge says, is Wilkes killing it with the halftime adjustments, or is this just a team that needs to ride momentum that hard? Look, we got to be honest here. The Lions dropped some passes. That opened the door for the 49ers. You don't have to deny it. They dropped them, but the Niners took advantage of the opportunity, and credit to them for doing it.
Heidemann says Chiefs got Swift, Niners got Woody. Embrace the Woody, Rob.
I wear a plaid shirt on the show one time and somebody says I look like Woody, and now I can't escape it. Sean Big Ridge Anderson, I had to switch TVs and grab my Niners blanket to get the mojo going. Ha ha. and 2 Levin Big Grinch was my call sign in the Marines. Bang bang Niner game. Let's go. Well, thank you, Sean. First of all, we appreciate the service, obviously. Glad you're celebrating a 49ers win, and I appreciate your Niners service as well. See, you're wrong, Levin. You're just wrong.
I appreciate the Big Grinch. I mean, you're pretty much saying, hey, you were the Big Grinch, and I'm kind of a Big Grinch. And
well, you asked last week, how do you get that nickname?
Oh, that's right. I've forgotten about that.
Yeah, so there you go. I'm glad, people remember it, and please tell us that stuff, because that's awesome.
And I'm glad you remember, because clearly I didn't.
Yeah, because you're a jerk. Damien,
you got the memory, I got the math.
I was the right
together when our powers combine,
we're like a one actual really good host. Real OBJ CDT says, how do we fix the run defense? 5-man front, weak link. Also, the Lions have a really good offensive line too. And 2 really good running backs. Right. So let's just give them
a great play caller who's probably about to be
he's going to be Commander's head coach. Yeah. Daniel Hamilton, YouTube channel member, says LFG, huge comeback in the second half. Let's get that 6th Lombardi trophy. Put this in perspective. They were down 17 points in the third quarter of the game, and they stormed back. They scored 27 points in the second half to Detroit's 7. They get the onside kick. They were all over it. They were prepared for fakes by the Lions on 4th down on special teams.
Yeah, I liked that call. Leaving 10 of the defensive starters out on the field and Ray back for the catching it.
Did it feel like to you that the offense at some point just figured it out, cracked the code? Okay, we figured it out now. Now we know how to attack. Or do you think it was just the Niners have Debo and CMC and Ayuk, and they're just good?
No, I think they were just a little bit off on their timings, and they probably made a few route adjustments to where they found the holes a little bit better. Because to me, the route depths that we saw, the trying to get the ball to Debo and the flat quickly, things like that, we saw that in the first half. It was just anytime Purdy went to look intermediate or deep, he just kept looking, and there was nothing there. Whereas in the second half, he started finding the holes. So to me, I think they probably made a little bit of adjustments and said, okay, here's where the holes are in the defense. We're going to adjust this route to hit here, things like that. We will have to wait until people much smarter than us break it down, but that's what it seemed like to me.
I just realized, so I put my phone, for some reason, my TV was 30 seconds behind everybody else, at least on Twitter. So I put my phone on Do Not Disturb because I hate when it gets spoiled. I had 16 text messages. I just looked. People have been texting me. Congratulations. I haven't even seen it. Sorry, everybody. I'm a little busy. Frankie, YouTube channel member, says, Go Niners, all the way from Croatia. That is awesome. Thank you very much.
Before you do another one, do you know who's in the most hell right now?
Wow, Dan Campbell? I don't know who.
Mark Davis and the Raiders, because they have the Chiefs, who is a division rival that they can't stand, and the 49ers coming into their stadium to win a championship. I saw a graphic, by the way, after the Chiefs won. The head coach and quarterback pairings with the most wins in Allegiant Stadium, it's like a 5-way tie. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are one of those teams. So they're in nightmare hell right now.
Let's see. Sparthier Kiwi Warrior says, love the 49ers and love Gold Standard. Thanks all. Thanks to you, everybody. I just want to throw this tweet up really quick. Nick Wagner, who I think has taken the reins as the best 49ers beat writer, says Brock Purdy by half. In the first half, Brock was 7 of 15 for 93 yards with no touchdowns, a pick, and -1 rushing yards. In the second half, Brock was 13 of 16 for 174 with a touchdown and 49 rushing yards. Yeah. Dude, that is a half right there by Brock Purdy. And man, you know, there are times when maybe he looked a little off, but he pulls it together in crunch time. This is now 2 straight weeks where he has done this. You know, he deserves credit.
Yeah, and he can obviously have more touchdowns, but the Niners are so damn good inside the 5, finishing off drives with a run. Eli Mitchell got 1, Christian McCaffrey, and I guess that one might have been a little bit past 5. I think maybe they were at the 6. I'm not sure on that, but on Christian McCaffrey's second rushing touchdown after Purdy had the scramble. So Purdy could have had more touchdowns, but that's more than 220 yards of offense in a single half. Like that's in an NFC Championship.
282 yards by the Niners in the second half, 4.7 yards per play in the first half, 7.4 yards per play in the second half.
I was talking about Brock specifically, 220 plus. Like, that's really good.
Kyle says halftime adjustments are overrated, but they changed something, man, because holy hell. King Joser says, let's go. I think I was dead the majority of the first half. I was annoyed because my Cowgirl fan brother kept talking ish, but man, what a win. Love you guys. Those were the takes, man. Those were the takes that were being loaded. They're just like the Cowboys. They can't do it. Kyle Shanahan chokes in a big game because they did get outplayed. I tweeted that this game's got to go on his coaching tombstone forever because they had 7 points in the first half and they were not doing anything offensively. And you know what? I was right. It does go on his coaching tombstone forever. Fortunately, it ties for the greatest comeback in the history of the NFC Championship game.
Yeah. My question is how can Cowboy fans say anything to a Niner fan? Like, it just doesn't. It's like the person who finished last in fantasy football smack talking the person who lost in the championship game. Like, no,
right?
You don't have any ammo here. You haven't been to an NFC Championship game, let alone a Super Bowl, since 1995. Like, you don't get to smack talk a team that's been to something 4 times in the last 5 years that you haven't been to now in 29 years.
Yeah, I'm not going to worry too much about the Dallas Cowboys because we're going to the bowl. We're going to the bowl. I can't believe it, man. They're going to the freaking NFC Championship.
I'm throwing this one up. Chris Lockwood says, I also took off my Kittle jersey at halftime, bro. This is real, Evan. Okay, I think I figured it out. Don't wear a Kittle jersey. Everybody's saying they removed their Kittle jerseys.
That's true, man. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, weren't there Lions fans that were doing all sorts of stuff in the second half that didn't work out for them? It was too many Niner fans. It was an overwhelming force. The bigger army won. I think that much is clear. Oh boy, I'm sorry. I'm going to butcher this name. I apologize. Eric Enriquez says, how did their Lions gash up the epic 49ers defense? Because it's not that epic. It's not. They find a way to get big turnovers and they make stops when they need to. But yeah,
opportunistic.
Yes, they don't tackle particularly well, but they have been opportunistic all year long. And I think they bow up in the red zone a little bit too.
I think they're good at making adjustments. They tend to figure things out by the second half. You know, they know how to stop you. They will figure it out. It's just they have to wait to see what it is, and then they can make adjustments on the fly. And part of that's Kyle Shanahan, as we've talked about in the past. But they came into this game allowing, I think it was 4.8 yards per carry in the last 6 games, including the playoffs. Like, it's not a good run defense. It's just not. That defensive line gets bullied in the run game. At this point, it's 7 games in a row not being good against the run. So that's a large enough sample size to just say it. They're not good against the run. They're pretty good against the pass, and they're very opportunistic.
I like this tweet from Zach Greer. I hope it shows up in the StreamYard as good as I can see it on Twitter. It's a picture. It says how it started, and it's Kyle Shanahan just with his looking dejected in the locker room, leaning up against that trunk or whatever it is, where he just looks like he has no answers for how to help this team. And then it's Brock Purdy doing a run fake to a running back that's not on that same side of his body. And then it says how it's going, and it's Kyle raising the NFC Championship, and it's Brock Purdy holding the NFC Championship game trophy. That is well done.
Yeah, that's a good tweet and sums it up perfectly.
And did you see on the fumble, the same thing happened? Either the Lions running back went to the wrong side or Goff went to the wrong side. There was confusion there, and it just muddied up the play and ultimately led to the fumble. Yeah, I know. Beats and Meats says, but Brock Purdy is the weakest link. Yeah, let's rethink that. JCG 1987. Well, look at that. Reading comments on social media. People still refuse to recognize the Niners comeback. The Lions choked as their narrative. Yeah, they did choke. That's fine. But the Lions didn't give the Niners those touchdowns. The Lions didn't give the Niners the field goal that they made. The Niners took it. Like, just because the Lions didn't catch the ball on fourth down and fumbled doesn't automatically give the Niners points. Both things have to happen in order for this comeback to happen. Absolutely.
Both things had to have happened. The Lions choked and the 49ers made a big comeback. And by the way, get ready for the narrative of the Super Bowl, because the narrative for the Super Bowl is going to probably be, can a game manager beat a truly elite, all-time great quarterback? That's going to be the narrative.
Whatever, man. We're smashing narratives at this point. Bring it on, okay? Give me another narrative to knock down, because we keep kicking their ass so far. I like this, Mac G. This is amazing. I feel fantastic. I can kill God.
Don't kill me.
Oh, see, you just ruined it. Oregon Wave, YouTube channel member.
That's what I'm here for.
For the 49ers, for the $49 super chat. I see what you did there, Oregon Wave. Robin Levin are the GOATs. You deserve your flowers. What a game. 6 Super Bowl is ours. Look, we're going to have plenty of time to break that down. Let's just celebrate. Tonight is a good night. This is so rare that the 49ers are now going to be in 3 Super Bowls since 2012. Enjoy tonight. We'll have plenty of time to break it down. Canis Rufus became a YouTube channel member. We appreciate you, Canis Rufus. You get the fist pump. SS, thank you for the $5 super chat donation. Deborah B, my friend came over at halftime to fix the mojo. That is a friend right there. You call them up, hey, the Niners are down 17 at halftime. I need you. And they come over. That is a real one right there.
Yeah, and Deborah, if you're single and that's a male friend, marry that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you're interested in that sort of thing,
I'm making assumptions there. You're
yes. Right. So glad Campbell didn't kick those field goals and allowed it to just keep inflating our momentum. Media is going to kill him for those drops or not. Yeah, I get that, but I'll say this.
He made the right choice.
I'll say this about Dan Campbell, man. He was like, this is who we are. We're not changing it. I think I would have kicked a field goal to go up, because you go up 3 scores at that point. Like, that's a big deal to go up 3 scores, but he didn't. And like, he was who he has been throughout the entire year. So whether you love him or hate him, like, you couldn't have been surprised by it, right?
Right. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Exactly.
If he wasn't that way, they would not have made it to this game.
1,000%.
Oh.
Yes. You're exactly right. So you can't have one without the other.
That's their identity. Their identity is, we're going to be aggressive and we're never going to give in. We're going to keep biting those kneecaps.
Sid the Catfish on Twitter said, Purdy's final boss, the Swifties. I like that very much. Matthew Rowley, fun fact, the last time Dan Campbell was on the same field as the 49ers, the Niners came back against the Giants from 35-14. Campbell is cursed. I was telling my son Thomas about that. Maybe he is cursed.
I'm okay with that.
Amen. Shawnee Chipotle.
There's no other competition in the NFC, so I'm good with it.
Yeah. Shawnee Chipotle. I hope this Super Bowl leads to a lot more viewership for y'all. You guys deserve it more than anyone. Thank you, Shawnee. Sure. I appreciate that. We are going to try to do everything we can. You got to see the things I'm doing behind the scenes to try and get a damn credential to the Super Bowl. Hink Dad says Strahan was the only Fox guy to pick the Lions. He was also on the field when Terrell Owens celebrated a touchdown in the 2003 wild card when the Niners came back from the 24-point deficit against the Giants. He pointed to the scoreboard after the night. He was either a Niners touchdown or a Niners 2-point conversion. He pointed to the scoreboard in that game and was like, look, what are you celebrating? We're kicking your butt. And the Niners came all the way back and won it.
Yeah, that game, you want to talk about a game that you wish you could experience in the social media era? The way that game ended, that crazy comeback. And then if you remember, it ended on a long Hail Mary of a pass where literally the Giants player is flat out tackled before he can catch the ball. Like, not even close. Like,
it was a
clear penalty, and they didn't call it. Can you imagine the social media storm if that happened in a playoff game in today's era?
I believe Steve Mariucci summed it up best when he said, quote, bummer.
Yeah.
1,500 people watching, more than 1,500. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Tell a friend, share the link, please. As many eyeballs as you can get on us. We appreciate it here at the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Like and subscribe. If you're watching on the stream, I have the CJ Gardner Johnson. It was in the second quarter. 5 minutes left.
Yeah, he's waving goodbye to his career is what he's doing.
5:54 left. He's waving to the crowd. Freezing cold takes actually got him. Sinan says that cheap shot from Gardner Johnson came back to bite him in the ass. I just love it. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Absolutely. You love a good cheap shot. Look, when this team is down 17, remember when Sean McVay ran into the end zone when the Rams were up 17-0 in week 18 a few years ago? That's not where you want to be against this Niners team. Daza0187, I don't understand why it's taken the Niners a half to wake up over the last 2 games. My heart can't take it. That's a fair question. They have started slow the past 2 weeks, Levin. I think we like to blame the rain conveniently. Well, it was perfect weather in this one. Perfect weather, and they started slow again.
There's something there. Like it seemed to me, and if you follow me on Twitter, you saw the tweets nonstop because I kind of tweet through my emotions during the games. But there was something off mentally with the team in the first half. To me, it felt like a team that was pressing too hard. It was in their minds that this is our legacy game. We have to win this game to cement our legacy to be what we think we are. I feel like they got it in their heads a little bit.
It could be. I mean, I thought it was interesting. Me, I love to pick up the little tidbits that they tell the broadcast teams. And before the game, Kyle Shanahan kind of said what I had said before the Packers game. He said, the Lions think they're big and tough, but they've never played a team like us. They think that we have to match their intensity. They have to match our intensity. Like for Kyle to flat out say that, I was like, damn, that man is feeling confident right now. And it sure seems like the Lions did come out much, much faster. But in the end, ultimately, the Niners were the team that won out. I don't think this was about starting fast. There's been a lot of Niner games where they get up by multiple scores and they're able to just smother you. This was the opposite. They had to claw their way back, and maybe last week gave them the belief that they could do it, but they did it.
Yeah, that can't be understated. That last week kind of probably did give them a boost of confidence when they're going into halftime to think, no, we can do this. We just did it.
I think that's a real thing. I mean, Fred Warner and Bosa talked about, hey, we needed this win. Well, you got it last week and you got it this week on a bigger stage in a more important game with more pressure on you. So, everybody talked about going into the game. Oh, the Niners had all this pressure on them, right? They have all the pressure. The Lions are playing with house money. Did it look like the Lions thought they were playing with house money when they were peeing down their leg in the third quarter? No, they puckered up. The buttholes got tight on Detroit, and they started dropping passes and fumbling footballs, and the Niners took advantage.
Yeah, it was the moment. The moment reared its head to a team that had not been on the stage before.
Jordan G, YouTube channel member, says Purdy added another 0 to his contract. I'm really glad we don't have to pay that for another year. Sorry, go back, Levin. What was the comment you were going to put up? Oh, your wife says, will Rob wear his plaid shirt when meeting Levin for the first time next week? Maybe I will. Maybe I will. Oregon Wave says, who's your player of the game? Ooh, player of the game. I got it. Man. I got to I guess Brock Purdy.
It's got to be. Yeah.
I'll give it to Brock. 20 of 31 for the game, 267 yards, a touchdown, an interception. He also had 5 carries for 48 yards, including a 21-yard run. It's close, and there's a lot of people to give credit to, but I'll give it to Brock Purdy.
It's a weird game because there's nobody that had like a tremendous game. It's hard to give anybody on the defense, the MVP of the game, because the defense was the problem in the first half. No, the offense also didn't do much. Then they got 7 points, but the defense was clearly getting absolutely bullied all across the field. Bosa did have 2 sacks, but
yes, he did.
He had multiple times that he crashed to the inside and the run went right around him to the outside for a big gain, especially in the first half. So I have a hard time giving it to anybody on defense. Offensively, you could argue Christian McCaffrey, but I feel like Purdy, like he took the team on his back there in the second half. Like that's the way I would characterize his second half, was whether it was passing, whether it was moving in the pocket, sidestepping to get the completion, whether it was scrambling and getting big conversions because of his running. He did it all in the second half.
You're absolutely right. I apologize. I don't know how to say this name. Rodri?
Yeah.
I apologize, Roger Anderson. If I messed it up, please tell me in the chat. I'm sorry, but thank you for the super chat donation. I really appreciate it. And how about this? This is going to go not the player of the game, but remember when Logan Ryan was the starter and we were like, what the hell? Well, Jair Brown was back in this one and he had 10 tackles, including 5 solo in the game. I know he had a couple bad plays on some long third downs that the Lions converted, but he's still a young player. Shout out to Jair Brown.
Put it this way. If Logan Ryan had played this game instead of Jair Brown, the Niners probably don't win because Jair Brown was cleaning up a lot of the run plays to the outside. That's what he was doing. When they got chunk plays and they got to the edge and they're going down the sideline and they're 5-10 yards down the field, Jair Brown was racing in and getting the hit to knock them out of bounds and things like that. That's the difference. He's a very good athlete. Logan Ryan, that's his big limitation. And that athleticism was a big part of why the Niners were able to limit somewhat. It's hard to say they limited the Lions offense, but he turned what could have been a 50-yard touchdown into a 12-yard run that went out of bounds to give the defense another chance to try to stop him.
He had a play, I think it was the first possession of the game, where Gibbs burst through the line and it was Jair Brown and him one-on-one, and he made the tackle, and that could have been a touchdown. So I was nice to see Jair get back in there, and he played well. James T. Kirk, thank you for the super chat. YouTube channel member says, hey, here are Rob. You were the first content creator I latched onto last year. Steph, Vish, Jesse, Krug all came afterwards. Thanks for all the great content, man. See you in Vegas. Kirk out. Yeah. Look, I know there's a lot of 49ers content creators, and they're all really good. There's an incredible community here. And I never tell you not to listen to anybody. I say listen to everybody, right? Get as many perspectives on things as you can. But again, I promise you, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, to the podcast. We will earn your time. I'll put our coverage here at the Gold Standard up against anybody else's coverage, whether it's content creators, whether it's beat writers, whoever it is. I'll put it up against anybody because I think we cover this team with everything you need to know. And I promise you, if you give us a chance, we will earn your time.
You take the high road better than me, Rob. There are a few I will tell you not to listen to, because the ones that I don't think are being honest and they're saying things just for the reaction of it, I have a hard time telling people, no, go ahead and get that perspective. Listen to them.
Well, I'm never going to tell you. You listen to who you want to listen to, but I just hope
you're a bigger man than me.
I hope you include us in that. I'm a bigger man than you. I'm also taller than you, right? I've never seen you stand up. I don't know how tall you are.
That's a good one. I don't know how tall you are, but I just kind of assumed you weren't. I didn't think you were short, but I just assumed you were probably like 5'9", 5'10".
Daniel Rodriguez, if you
no, answer the question. How tall are you? I'm
steamrolling past that. If you time your live shows right, you might get a ton of viewers, being one of the only 2 teams left. You guys are great, LFG Niners. Thank you very much, Daniel.
That's what we're hoping for. We did see, like, full transparency, we did see a pretty darn big push this week. We saw quite a few more viewers this week than we have on YouTube.
Oh, thank you to everybody who has come aboard. Absolutely. We're so grateful. Kate Joyce, thank you for the super chat. Early in the second half, I made a joke about rubbing my dog for good luck. Then the IU catch happened. After that, everyone in the house was sitting around the dog, rubbing him to keep the mojo dog.
Bald? Did you rub all the hair off?
See, man, even dogs are getting in on the action.
I was going to say, that's probably the best night of that dog's life.
That's true.
Attention.
SS says, what are they going to say now about Purdy? I don't know. Like, literally, what are you going to say? Well, the Lions gave it to him. Like, you could try that, but damn, how many other quarterbacks have come back from 17 down in the NFC Championship game? I can think of Colin Kaepernick, and I think there's one other one that I can't remember off the top of my head, but we're talking about a very small group there.
Yeah. Like, Lamar had the chance to do this. What did he do? Turn the ball over.
Absolutely. He was slamming his helmet down on the sideline.
Yeah, his body language that entire game was bad. You can tell he was making the moment too big for the team. You know what I mean? It wasn't just, hey, we got to go take care of business. He was screaming at people. He was mad at Zay Flowers a couple of times, and then he slammed his helmet on that last interception. Like, I didn't like Lamar's, and I'm a big fan of Lamar. He's one of probably outside of a 49ers quarterback, he might be my favorite quarterback in the league.
Yeah, it's a shame what happened to Lamar Jackson, but
I will say this. I'm glad it happened, because I'm not saying the Niners are going to win and that it's an easy matchup, but I wanted to play Kansas City more than I wanted to play the Ravens. I think Kansas City has a few key flaws that the 49ers might be able to exploit the Ravens. They didn't have any like clear flaw. It was just whether or not you can withstand against them and have the right game plan.
Oh, we got plenty of time to break down that
I know,
Chiefs
I know.
matchup, but I was grateful that the Ravens were up too. I'm just going to say, the Garonis says everyone needs to go to the homage linked in our description of this show to get their Victory Monday shirts. I'll be wearing mine tomorrow. Yeah. Hell yeah. If you want some Niners gear, click the link in the description. They have awesome stuff at Homage. This is an Homage shirt that I'm wearing right now. It's the Christian McCaffrey NFL Blitz shirt. If you click our link, you can support the channel because we get a little commission off of that. So please and thank you. John Radzinski, my friend from college, says, let's go. The difference was Purdy's legs. John was in the stadium. He was texting me the vibe from the stadium pregame.
How do you know John?
We went to college together.
Little
Quinnipiac, baby.
So he's the cool guy because he actually went to the game.
Yes, he's much cooler than me. If you saw on the GSN Twitter handle, I tweeted out a video of a guy beating up a bunch of people, and it was like a Brock Purdy thing. John Radzinski is the one that made that video. I know a lot of people saw it and liked it. He's the one that made it. He does awesome stuff for the 49ers, and he always lets us use it. So shout out to you, John.
John, you're pretty rad in my book.
There you go. God. You just always make some dumb joke. It's like 3 times a show. You're out of control.
I'm a dad. Let me be a dad.
Oh,
Why aren't you more like this?
Because I respect our audience, and you clearly have no respect for comedy or
I called him rad.
God. King Yaboot or Yabbit, apologies again. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Said became a YouTube channel member. Thank you very much. Chris Waddell says, I've been preaching tackling for half the season. That's true. He has. He's been telling you guys for a long time. Hasn't killed us yet. One more game, baby. LFG. It hasn't been great. I mean, there were a lot of missed tackles in this game. Very frustrating missed tackles. But we're at the point. There's one game left in this incredible season. It's just going to be what happens in between the white lines in those 3 hours. I mean, for much of the game, the 49ers could not move the ball through the air against this defense, which starting in week 16 gave up more passing yards than anybody in the league. It doesn't matter. None of those, you're going to see a lot of those season-long stats this week. The Chiefs are weak in this area. The Chiefs are bad against toss plays to the left on a full moon during friggin' Hanukkah. No, none of that matters. It only matters what happens between the white lines for 3 hours.
Waddell said it hasn't killed us yet. That is true, but it has put us on life support multiple times.
Absolutely. Corey Matthews, what a narrative if the 49ers and Shanahan do this by being the comeback kids. Let me just say this. We owe the Chiefs one, right? We owe the Chiefs a damn comeback. So I would suggest not getting down 17 points to Patrick Mahomes. Let's not try that again in 2 weeks. But they have been smashing the narratives these past 2 weeks. There's no argument against it.
Guess who the referee is? I'm sure you've seen that. Same referee as the 2019 game.
Oh, boy. Can we not call offensive pass interference before halftime? Let me just say that. Andrew Jones says, I have a 2019 Super Bowl Kittle jersey, 0 for 3. 0 for 3? I don't understand the 0 for 3.
He's worn it. I'm guessing he means he's worn it 3 times and had to take it off 3 times because they were doing bad. The
Simcat will burn it then. 49ers down 17. Hell yeah, brother. Cheers from Iraq. That's incredible. Thank you, Simcat. That is awesome that you were watching from that far away. We love being international here on the Gold Standard Podcast Network. Devin Meckley, YouTube channel member. Thanks for the $20 super chat. If the Niners win it all, we need to find a Woody filter costume for stats. 1 full episode as Woody. Do it. Man, you have started a thing, Levin. This is all your fault because you could have just that comment passed by and you didn't. And now I'm going to be in a Woody costume.
Can I just say, I appreciate all the messages. We had somebody send a messenger message to us on Facebook saying, hey, this message is for Levin. Have you thought about starting a GoFundMe page to get a custom Purdy jersey made as a Woody costume? So it would be like saying Purdy and it's a jersey, but it looks like Woody's costume. I'm all for those things. I want to see all those things. And by the way, I just had a thought. We're going to Vegas. There's good Mexican in Vegas.
Tamales?
A tamale.
All right. We'll put a video up on our channels. Oh man, it's all,
I know. We got flights to book.
I know. Matthew Rowley says, is it me or is Purdy turning into a clutch quarterback? Also, Ryan Clark on Twitter right now saying Purdy is the guy and put the team on his back tonight. I mean, what are you going to say against Brock Purdy? There's nothing you could say. You could say, hey, I still don't think he's that good, whatever. Tonight, you got to shut up. You just can't say that. You have to shut up and hand it to him because he was brilliant tonight in the second half when he needed to be.
I am okay with somebody saying Purdy has done well. He's been clutch when they needed it, but I don't think he's elite. I'm okay with that because elite to me means Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. I'm okay if you don't quite put him at that level yet. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that take. It's the people that go out there and say he's just a game manager. He's being carried. It's all the yak yards or any of those narratives. That's where I have problems.
Right. And look, physically, he's never going to be some of those guys you mentioned, but that doesn't mean you can't be a great quarterback in the league. It doesn't. Those two things are mutually exclusive. SS says, are you worried about Chase Young? Yeah. I mean, he's not been very good. There was a play where he was the touchdown run, one of the touchdown runs the Lions had that Gibbs ran in. He was jogging. He was jogging the whole play, and then he got within striking distance of Gibbs, and he didn't make the tackle, and Gibbs ran it in for the touchdown. So, yeah, Chase Young has been bad. It's not just that he hasn't been like an impact player. He's been a negative out there.
Yeah, like, especially in the run game. Like, he is bad against the run. Yeah. Lacks discipline and just doesn't make a difference. Like, I was actively watching it after last week in this game, what Chase Young was doing on runs to his side.
Mm-hmm.
And they were basically saying, okay, we're going to give him a free release to let him get up the field. So like the tackle that was in front of him would just start pulling right away to get to the outside to start blocking a linebacker or whoever's out there. And they let Chase Young come up, and then they would have the guard just nudge him and give him, like a little hit of a chip as he went by. That was enough to let the running back get by him, and he was taken out of the play right away. He didn't ever adjust. I saw it time and time again. They knew if we don't put anybody in front of him and we just pull that tackle, he's going to go up the field and be too far up the field to stop the guy.
Well, whatever they were doing, it was working. Figure it out in 2 weeks. Find a way to make a play, Chase. Terrell Thomas says Bosa had a quiet 2 sacks. It was nice to see Bosa get involved. I think he was keenly aware of that. And I know you pointed out, he got burned early on the first touchdown run. He got burned. Yeah. But, I think he was
Did you see what he did on the first sack?
No.
He didn't do the celebration.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
He didn't do the shrug. Chase Young did the shrug for him.
Yep.
But I think that was clear, message of, it's been a while. I'm not celebrating this one.
Well, and
I should have, this is what I'm supposed to do type thing.
Right. Chris Waddell says, what days will you guys be in Vegas thinking of going GSN Network fans night at a bar somewhere would be cool? I'm in Ohio and have no interaction with fellow 49er fans. Bengals country. I mean, look, maybe we'll figure something out. I hadn't thought of that far ahead, to be honest with you. I would love to, if anybody's going to be in Vegas, I would love to meet up. Absolutely love it. We're nothing without you, without your support. So I would absolutely love it. It would be fantastic. We can maybe sort of firm up those plans as we get closer. Matthew Rowley says, Stats, your Twitter kept all my doors and walls intact. Thanks. I was super positive on Twitter for most of the night. We
were polar opposites.
Yeah, I was trying to keep the faith, man. I was trying to keep hope alive, especially because of the fact that they got the ball coming out of the half. I thought, because if you're down 2 scores, but you do it right at the end of the half, I thought maybe they could, pull this thing off. That's a way to gain 2 scores worth on the scoreboard without having to make a defensive stop. Now, unfortunately, it didn't really work out.
Yeah. Well,
because the Lions scored a field goal at the end of the first half, and then so that eliminated it. But that was my hope. That's part of the reason I was so positive.
I am definitely extremely pessimistic during games. I am just very much not looking for any negative, but I always feel like the world was crashing in during games. Unless they get up big right away, during the game is when I have trouble keeping my emotions intact.
Apparently, Nick Bosa talked about filling up the stat sheet after the game. He said, quote, yeah, it's about time. See, he felt it, man.
Yeah, he knew.
He knew. And look, pressures are great. Sacks are better. Let's be honest. Nick Bosa, 3 solo tackles in the game, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits. And the Niners only had 5 quarterback hits on the whole night. So, look, Bosa, in these games...
You give Mahomes that pocket, they'll get beat.
You need your stars to play like stars in these games. And Nick Bosa played like a star tonight. Doesn't mean he was perfect, but he played like a star tonight.
He made 2 sacks. I'll give him that. And that's important, but I'm not going to say anybody on that defensive line played like a star. They literally gave up the most rushing yards in a half in the Kyle Shanahan era.
Look, man, what do you want from me? Again, he wasn't.
I know the Niners won. I'm just saying, like, I'm not giving kudos to anybody on that defensive line tonight.
He can't make every tackle, right? I just, look, those sacks were big, man. And you could tell he was going for the strip too on both of them. He really tried to actually give Goff credit because he held on to the ball, but he was going for it. Yeah, is this your mom chiming in on the chat again?
She said we can beat the Chiefs. That's a mother's confidence for you, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, everybody, the Ravens thought that too. And Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are literally like they elevate in the crucial moments on another level. And all I could think about as I watched Mahomes celebrate, and I don't mean to be a downer, but he could have been our quarterback. He could have been our quarterback.
Now who's the wet blanket? My God.
Well, I'm just pointing it out. Sign Me Too says Bosa got the sack, but then the defense gave up 3rd and 18, so it didn't really matter. Yeah, exactly, man. And it was an easy pickup for them too, because Jair Brown got put in a blender, didn't even know who had the ball. He wasn't even facing the play, and he ran right through it.
Yeah, I retweeted, I think it was a Nick Wagner stat at halftime, that the average distance to go on 3rd down for the Lions in the first half was over 10 yards.
I saw that.
5 for 7 on 3rd down.
I think that was inflated by some of the longer downs in distance, but you're right. Like in the first half, they were running the ball so well that when they did pass, the Niners ran zone on every single play in the first half. And so Goff was never really uncomfortable that much in the pocket. So he was going to his first read against the zone, and they were just picking up yards after catch. And it was frustrating because they were doing whatever they wanted in the first half. Anytime they needed to play, no problem. Run it on the ground. Goff will make a play. No pressure to very little pressure. In the second half, let me read you the Lions' possessions in the second half of this game. Turnover on downs, fumble, punt, turnover on downs, touchdown. That's what Detroit did in the second half of this game. That's exactly how you come back and win if you're the 49ers. Chris Maldonado says 2 weeks in a row, my stomach is in knots. Yeah, I keep saying agita. I know you don't like that word, Levin, but that's exactly what it was tonight.
Not that I don't like that word. I had never really I knew what the word was the first time I heard you say it. It's the fact that you say it every show.
In the playoffs, that's what happened. What did I say? I said I have 2 settings when it comes to the playoffs: wildly overconfident or horribly anxious. And that's what horribly anxious is. It absolutely is. I'm trying to check my notes. I
like this tweet. I'm seeing it on my phone. It's from Alice, which if you're big on Twitter, she's Niners Girl 99. She tweeted, "I'm screaming, crying, throwing up." Yeah, that's pretty much the emotions.
I ran down here to start the show because I wanted to start as soon as possible and celebrate everybody. But I didn't see the celebration. I'm seeing some things in the locker room. Obviously, the Niners are cheering. Deebo Samuel on the Niners halftime adjustment. Quote, "It was just time for us to buckle up and play Niner football." They certainly took their time, but holy crap, did it turn when it turned.
Yeah, if they put together 2 halves like they did the second half, this is a blowout Super Bowl victory. That second half was the level that this team can achieve that no other team can match.
Yeah, that's a good point. When the Niners hit the field goal to make it 27-24, when they hit the field goal to take the lead.
I'm so glad Moody responded. He missed that first one, and I thought, oh, God. Yeah. If he doesn't get another chance, or if he misses another one, his career is in the tank because it's going to be in his head. He's done.
He missed it, but he came back and he made it. But at that point, I was like, if I'm Steve Wilkes, I tweeted this out too. I was like, I'm bringing the heat every time. And if the Lions score, whatever, they'll score quickly, and we got to leave it up to the offense to respond. But I couldn't sit back and just let them run the ball slowly down the field. Like, that wasn't going to be it for me. And Ambry Thomas almost had an interception, by the way. How about that?
I
With
know.
Jameson went, how many times are we going to see a 50-50 ball go up and the receiver freaking get it and turn an interception into a reception?
Yeah, I forget what person tweeted. I just saw it while I was scrolling during that moment that said, "I've never seen a reception, interception, reception." I want to throw this one up. Oh, go ahead. I was just putting that one up. The exact
Nick
one.
Miller. Did you see Diamador Lenore put up an Instagram live lighting up Lion CJ Gardner-Johnson? I've been a little busy hosting this show. I didn't see it. So what, he just lit up CJ on Instagram live?
I haven't seen it. I wanted to put it up to see. Okay, apparently, like they're really going to go after CJ Gardner-Johnson now.
Hey, you know what? Like when you talk that talk and you wave to the crowd and do all that,
you take a cheap shot at Debo. I'm sure that's like that's the cherry on top of maybe they wouldn't have called him out after the game, but then he took that cheap shot. So it's like, all right, it's on.
A freaking men. Apparently Kyle Shanahan is speaking from the podium, so hopefully we should have some post-game comments. Levin, if you need to run, we're at 1 hour and 10 minutes now. So if you need to go, I appreciate it, but I ain't going anywhere.
Remember, I took the day off from work. I'm supposed to be at work right now. So not supposed to be. I took the day off, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely love that. Ooh, I like this. Strawberry reacts. What about the cheap shot on Brock? Did you see that at the end of the game?
Yeah, he should have been ejected. That was 100. So they have the ability to eject for a single personal foul. You know how the rule is, like if you get 2 personal fouls, you're ejected.
Yeah.
In a game. But they have the ability that if they think the first one is like purposely intent to harm, they have the ability to eject you after a single one. To me, that was 100% head-hutting, trying to get the quarterback out of the game because Purdy's already got his butt on the ground. He's already down, and that defender then decides to dive, but not only dive, but he shoots his head forward to get it helmet on helmet. That was 100% intent to harm.
You know who that was? That was the guy you wanted the Niners to sign. That was Justin Houston.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that aspect. He has a fine coming. Well, I should say the NFL typically when your season ends, they don't necessarily come after you with fines.
And Brock was bloody after that because the helmets like hit each other and kind of like scraped up against his face. It didn't look fun. My son was very shook by that. He was like, he's bleeding. He was very, very upset. I understand. James T. Kirk says Brock does not slide on his runs. He absolutely does not. Have you noticed that? Like
I have, yeah.
He
dives forward.
And he takes he's willing to take a little contact. He doesn't just go down at the first guy. He's like, yeah, this guy might hit me, but can he tackle me? And Brock doesn't go down and he does dive forward. Steve Young always talks about this though. He says, if you're going to scramble as a quarterback, 90% of your run, there's no danger. Cause if you're running, like no one should be around you. The only part of the danger is the last, half second of the play when there's people around you. And then it's up to you to navigate that, protect the ball, slide, get down, whatever. So you don't take a big hit. Brock, man, he's going for it. Respect.
That scrambling in the second half is what we've been waiting on. We've talked about it since last season. It's like there's so many scrambles available to him that he doesn't take because he thinks let me just buy time. I can get this 30-yard completion. No, go get the 7 to 10 yards. Like that's the part that Mahomes and Josh Allen that cripple you in a game. Because you do everything right, and they still end up with a 7 to 10 yard gain. Because even when the coverage is great, they still got the first down because the quarterback went and scrambled for it. Like those are the back-breaking plays, and that's what Purdy's been missing. He's had those opportunities, and he's unwilling to take, what the defense is giving him.
You know who we need to give a shout out to? Somebody I never thought in 1,000 years we'd give a shout out to. Colton McKivitz. You want to know why? Because here's Aiden Hutchinson's line in the game. 0 tackles, 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits. He had 2 passes defended, 2 tips at the line of scrimmage. Otherwise, Aiden Hutchinson didn't
Both came in the first 2 drives, I think, too.
Right. Didn't do a damn thing.
Brunskill is to Donald as McKivitz is to Hutchinson. How about we put it that way?
The Hutchinson neutralizer.
That might be a thing in the future years. We don't know. This could become like a thing where it's Lions versus 49ers in the NFC.
Maybe it is. I mean, look, who knows how it's going to shape up? Who knows how any of that's going to work out? All I'm saying is tonight, enjoy tonight. This team came down from 17 points down. I'm sitting there talking to Thomas, my son, and he's just, he's dejected. He's in the dumps. And I look at him and I said, well, if they're going to come back, it's going to take one of the greatest comebacks in NFL history. And they did it. They freaking did it. When everybody was all set to dial up the narratives and put Kyle Shanahan in the grave and put Brock Purdy in the grave and fire everybody, change the core, fire Wilkes, they buckle down, they come together, and they win this damn game. And the Lions are going to be sitting home all offseason just thinking it should have been us. And for once, I'm glad the 49ers can contribute to somebody else's misery.
Now let's all just pray that they actually follow through and win the Super Bowl so that Grant Cohn has the most boring offseason he's ever had.
Amen. I appreciate that. I apologize. I already put that comment up there. I'm trying to see what some of the post-game comments are. I'm sure they're going to be juicy. Obviously, there was a whole trophy presentation, and they put the big T-shirts on the podium and stuff. I want to rewatch this game just to see the celebration and see everything that happened, because like that stuff doesn't come around very often. So I will be rewatching the game just to see that.
I mean, I can't wait to get on Twitter and get after all those Cowboy fans that were talking crap before this game, which still blows my mind. Like, you know, when you're the Cowboys and you have that history, just keep your mouth shut.
You know,
when fade away.
When the 49ers played the Eagles, we had Brandon Lee Gouton on, who covers the Eagles for Bleeding Green Nation, the SB Nation Eagles community. And I love BLG. He's one of my dear friends. He does an awesome job covering the Eagles. But he tweeted something when it was 14-0. He said Niners would be up 49-0 on the Lions right now if Brock Purdy wasn't hurt. And it just bugged the hell out of me, because it's like, one, this game doesn't have anything to do with last year. But it's like, you know, Eagles fans are always trying to get extra credit for beating a 49ers team that ran out of quarterbacks. Well, where are you now, Eagles fans? You know, you were so quick to say, oh, it wouldn't have mattered at all if Brock Purdy was in that NFC Championship game. Oh, yeah? You just came down and pulled off the tied for the biggest comeback in the history of the damn game.
Well, just rename it Crying Green Nation. That's what they've been doing for like 3 months now. You know, make your logo the Sirianni, where he's crying. You know, like it all fits. I don't like who they've hired. I'll tell you that though.
The Eagles
come storming back, next season.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
It's either going to all crumble or they're going to come storming back, because they hired two big names that have lots of potential.
Well, potential can get you fired also. So wait a minute. Was Frank Gore at the NFC Championship game? I'm seeing a video now of Christian McCaffrey, and he was there. Oh, shout out.
I saw a thing right before the game that was, it was a defensive player, but they were saying Frank Gore catching up with whoever, and they were talking on the sideline before the game.
Nice.
He's a 49ers employee.
Special Joe. That's true. I forgot about that. Special Joey says, build a statue of Brock. Let's wait. You got to win one more to get a statue. You can't get a statue without a ring.
I just wonder if I'm going to run into Frank Gore in Vegas coming out of a casino and not recognize him until it was too late again.
Again, right. The key part of that sentence is again, because that already happened once.
Yeah, that happened in New Orleans.
Wedge Antilli says Purdy's sack avoided scramble throw to Juice. Then toe tap on the sideline was nails. I forgot about that play, but you're right. And that was
insane,
because that was on the field goal drive where the Niners took the lead. That's how that drive started. Brock is dead to rights in the backfield. Great job, Wedge, because I wrote that play down, but you are absolutely right. That's like, we haven't had a 49ers quarterback that can make that play since Kaepernick, and maybe not even him.
No, because on that play, Kaepernick runs.
Maybe.
That was Kaepernick's MO. Kaepernick was, when he wasn't bothered, he could throw, and he could obviously run. He didn't do too much of the I'm buying time and standing around in the backfield, running all over the place, and then delivering a strike. You know, that wasn't him. It was, I'm going to throw to my first or second read, and if it's not there, I'm going to try to run.
Fred Warner on Brock Purdy after the game, quote, heck of a game manager. Wow, managed the heck out of that game. Freaking men, Fred. Purdy's going to get a lot of flowers this week, and he's going to deserve every single one of them. And what do I always say after big 49er wins, right? Soak it in, everybody. This is going to be a good week. You are going to get so much love this week. Just enjoy it. Download all our podcasts. You're going to get tons of love from them, everybody, of course. Download some other podcast. Listen to the national shows because he's going to get love. Brad Reeves says, I was at the game and just got to the airport. My fiance and I switched seats, changed hats, and I walked up and down the aisles to get this thing back on track in the second half. Brad, I hope you're going to the Super Bowl. That's all I could say because we need you, buddy.
Yeah. Like I said, if it works for you, keep doing it.
Whatever you're doing, right? Like Bill Walsh famously once said in a 49ers team meeting, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. For some of you, that doesn't mean any sex. For some others, a hell of a lot more. He literally said that in a team meeting because the Niners have the tapes. I've seen the actual video of it. It's hysterical. Nick Eller, YouTube channel member, says, Rob, do you remember talking to the Lions guy and you mentioned Brock making Minkah Fitzpatrick miss? Yes, I do. I talked with Jeremy Reisman, who covers the Lions for Pride of Detroit, the SB Nation Lions community, and he asked me, what is Brock Purdy's superpower? And I said, that his elusiveness is his superpower. He's elite at that. He's
He's elite at getting out of sacks.
Yes. And we saw it in this game. Multiple times it came up. Multiple times.
Absolutely. Like there were multiple times he was dead to rights and he did the duck under it thing and got away from it. We saw the spin out of the pocket. We saw the pockets collapsing and he takes off straight up the gut for a big gain. Like that is one of his elite skills, with his other one being able to read a defense quickly. Like he's a very quick processor.
How about Kyle Shanahan had a chance to dunk on some critics and took the high road after the game, asked if the stigma that his teams can't win when they fall from behind is over. Kyle Shanahan says, that's for you guys to decide. I give Kyle credit. If there's ever a time to dunk on people, now would be the time, and no one would bang on him for it. And you know what? He didn't. Good on Kyle.
You know a question I would ask him?
What?
Do you think the 12th man had an effect tonight? Give him, set him up for that. Give him a second chance to make that a joke.
Opening a second beer on the program.
That would be the good first question. Say there's a skill to interviews. You ask a cupcake, you throw him a bone early, get him laughing, and then you ask him the question that normally he wouldn't answer. And maybe you get an answer.
Yes. Thank you, Levin, for telling me how to interview somebody, as if I haven't been doing this for 15 years.
Have you interviewed contentious?
Yes. Did you not see my Russell Wilson interview before he got traded?
That's right. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I got to give Russell a little crap for torturing me for 20 years. Turns out there was a Lions fan before the year that got a tattoo to begin the season. Super Bowl champs, Lions 2024. Quote, never been more sure of anything. Womp, womp. Live with that for the rest of your life.
Maybe he should just put under there so close. I mean, technically that would work for next year too.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he could eke by. But guess what? You got a long off season.
When they say what team was the champ of this year, they don't say because the Super Bowl happened in that year. They don't say, oh, well, they were the 2025 champs. They say they were the champ of the 2023 season. The Niners won't be the 2024 champs this year. They'll be the 2023 champs. But when it's asked, when did that Super Bowl take place? 2024.
Right. You always go with the year the season began. That's the rule.
Unless you're asking specifically about when the Super Bowl took place.
Right. That's a little different thing. Andre says, what a moron. Gotta like that. Full White says, we are still taking shots and celebrating over here in Texas. Shout out to y'all. Love this channel, fam. Like and subscribe to the channel, everybody who's in here. I know some of the audience has left because we've been on for an hour and a half. But thank you so much. I'm seeing some estimates for Super Bowl tickets. Rick G says $8,000 was the cheapest I saw. That's absolutely crazy. Look, if you want to do it, I totally support it. I will never be live at a Super Bowl that my team is in. I've had the opportunities to go to Super Bowls. I could have gone to the Super Bowl in 2012 with the Niners when they were in it. I was in New Orleans covering that Super Bowl. I need to be home. I need to be in my couch cushion that has my butt print in it, and I need to be in my spot. I can't be anywhere else watching the Super Bowl with my team in it.
I almost bought tickets for that 2012. I was in New Orleans. As I've said, I used to live there, so I had a free place to stay. But I decided to watch it at a bar rather than drop. I almost dropped. It was the day of the game. Prices dropped, because people were desperate to sell the tickets that they had still. and I could have gotten my then girlfriend, now wife, in. I think it was like something like 4,200 for 2 tickets.
Man, that's a lot. I saw this tweet that doesn't make me very happy, but it's cool, so I will throw it up there. Tony Holzman Escarino says this will be the 4th Super Bowl rematch among head coaches all time. Chuck Noll, Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson, Marv Levy, Tom Coughlin, Bill Belichick, and Andy Reid and Kyle Shanahan. In each of the 3 previous instances, the coach to win the first also won the second one. Guess what? Add it to the list of narratives the Niners have to take down in this playoffs, man. Just add it to the list.
Yeah, I didn't know that last sentence. I was reading it, and you said Chuck Landry, or Chuck Noll, Tom Landry, Jim. And you're reading the list. I'm thinking, crap, the other 3 lost.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's a first time for everything, right? Kyle hadn't come back until he did, and the 17 points down in the NFC Championship game until they overcame that. No reason they can't keep that going. Absolutely no reason they can't do it.
Just how about we not do it? Don't get down in the Super Bowl. Never trail in the Super Bowl.
Oh my God, I can't believe it. I absolutely can't believe that this is happening. We're going to the Super Bowl. Brock Purdy, when asked about the moment the clock went to 0 tonight, summed it up with one word, quote, redemption.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to book a flight is what I'm ready to do. Like, that's on my mind at this point.
Well, I mean, look at this. Like, Brock Purdy's in his 2nd year as a starter. He just turned 24 this year, and he led the biggest comeback, tied for the biggest comeback in the NFC Championship game in history. Like, forget, the Super Bowl, forget everything this season. Just zoom out and take a big picture view. That's our quarterback, man. We are in good hands.
Do you know the fastest anybody's won a Super Bowl in their career?
No.
It's year 2. Like, he can tie the record.
Man, yeah, I know he would be one of the youngest to ever win one. It takes time for quarterbacks.
I don't know about age. I think age, I saw sometime beginning of the playoffs. I think he was like 2nd or something. He would be 2nd or 3rd youngest to win it. But I think Brady won year 2. Mm-hmm. And didn't Mahomes win year 2? Or did he? Is that the one that lost?
Because remember, his rookie year, he didn't play. Mahomes won it year 2 as a starter, but not year 2 in the league.
Right. Year 2 in the league was his MVP year, but then they lost.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, D Ford. Demetrius Flanagan Foles said, we going to the Bulldog. He tweeted that on X. Chris Waddell says, all right, boys, I'm out. Got to work in the morning, though sleeping is going to be hard. Still hype. Looking forward to you and Vish play-by-play tomorrow. Oh, yeah. Excuse me. Vish Kumar and I will be live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. We go drive by drive every Monday through every Niners game. We break down the good, the bad, and the ugly. So please join us for that. That is usually around 10 a.m. Pacific time. So,
you know what I'm excited for?
What?
Being able to crash all of your episodes, not this week, but next week, because I'm going to probably be in the same room as you recording. So
that's true.
I'll probably just crash them all.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I probably won't crash them all, but I might make appearances to some people.
Chris Waddell finally became a YouTube channel member. Appreciate you. That seems right. I feel like he's been a YouTube channel member in the past, but anyway. Stephen Garrett, this is the question everybody wants to know. Stats, are you ready to crown Purdy the guy? You have your timeliness, I understand, or timelines, excuse me. It does say timeliness, but I know you meant timelines. Are you ready to break my rule? I said it takes 2 years for me to crown a franchise quarterback. I am still sticking with that. I am going to stick with it. Good, bad, or ugly, man.
Lame.
I'm absolutely going to do it.
I'm going to give you a line one of my high school teachers used to give. Get off the fence. It hurts.
Nope. I'm keeping it consistent. Baloney Jones, that's a fantastic name, says, Rob, thank Michelle for her support and hard work. What a season year you've had, but we ain't done yet. That's it. We ain't done yet.
Speaking of Michelle, where is she?
I don't know. She's working. She had to cover the game. She's a researcher for NFL Network, so yeah, she had to work it. Benjamin Bear was in the stadium. He was texting me from the stadium, giving me the vibe ahead of time. He just got home. Shout out to you, Benjamin.
How many people text you during the games?
A lot. I'm nice, you jerk.
I asked you a simple question. Jeez.
I can't believe like what it must have been like for you, Benjamin, in the stadium. And John Radzinski, who was my other friend who texted me. Benjamin says he sent video. I only texted
you video. You probably turned off your thing. You probably sent video of like the game ending or something,
No, I didn't. I don't see it, Benjamin. I only see the still photos. But it had to be. I mean, to be in the building for that comeback. People were texting me like Lions fans here. Like at one point, there was a Jared Goff chant. Did you hear that?
I did. It was the end of the first half.
And now I was getting texts saying like Lions fans here are real quiet. I think there was an element to Detroit where it was like they almost expected the other shoe to drop because they've had so much crap there in Detroit forever that I do think there was a part of them that thought we can't really do this. And I wonder if that crept in with the Lions players.
It's certainly possible. Like I said, like I think the moment got to them. They made mistakes in the second half, and I think that was the moment. That was the moment rearing its head. The Niners have been there almost every year for half a decade now. The Lions have not been there in 30 plus years.
Full Whites, YouTube channel member for 3 months, says, embrace the Woody, LFG 49ers. Thank you, Full Whites. It appears this Woody costume is full speed ahead. How about this?
We're going to be in Vegas. I'm betting I can find a costume.
People are asking Kyle to name the Ayuk catch, right? Because they're coming up with a name. Brian Murphy from KMBR tweets, Kyle is so hilariously a football head. Twice he's been asked to wax poetic on the emasculate reception, which is a fantastic suggestion by someone on Twitter, Demi.
I like the second one more.
The second name is Fluke to Ayuk from @Brownie Athletic. That's pretty damn good. Fluke to Ayuk from Daniel Brown, who's the staff editor for The Athletic, Major League Baseball staff editor. That's pretty good. Emasculate reception is not bad, too. I like both of them, to be honest.
They're not bad. I just think Fluke to Ayuk's a little bit better. Because it's uniquely, it's uniquely that one. Whereas emasculate reception is just playing on one that's already much more famous.
Yeah, the rhyming, too. When anytime you get a rhyming name on a play, that's pretty good. It tends to stick.
Right. I like that one. It's very good.
Rhyming or
poetic, as the post said.
Yeah, you need a rhyme or you need alliteration, right? Like miracle in the middle.
I've seen this one. Nick Ellert says the catch for. I don't like that one.
We got to stop with the cat. Like we could come up with other nicknames. You need to make
it. Also wasn't a touchdown to end the game, so I don't feel like you can give it a touch.
And it doesn't do justice to the plays, right? The catch belongs to Dwight Clark, first of all. Like give Vernon's play another name. Give the TO catch another name. Like I feel like we need to come up with something else.
Yeah, Wedge Antilles says pick at the stick equals Fluke to Ayuk. Right. The pick at the stick stuck as a nickname because it rhymes and it just fits.
Reed Bunnell says, just tuned in because I was at the game, the best game. Yeah, save those ticket stubs. This is a game that 10, 15 years from now, everyone's going to say they were at. You will actually be one of the people that were there. Like, there are so many times when you go back to old games and everyone's like, oh, I was there, It's like, yeah, it turns out the attendance was 180 million that day. Like, no, you were there. Shout out to you.
It's a game that's going to be replayed, put it that way. It's a game, especially if the Niners finish it off and win the Super Bowl. That's going to be one of those games that, like, when they have the show talking about the 49ers season, it's going to be like, all right, there's going to be 20 minutes on the Super Bowl. There's also going to be 15 minutes on the NFC Championship game because it was just such a great game.
100%. Benjamin Bear points out, I'm the old dude in the room. Stats, there are no more ticket stubs. It's all on the phone now. Yeah,
that's true. I'm old. I didn't even pick up on that.
You got me. Augie Called Ed says the Ayukin catch. That's pretty funny. I do like that.
Yeah, if he has a stiff arm. That's what I've been, because I've seen the Ayukin. I actually had that as my fantasy name for a while this year until I traded him. But if he gets a stiff arm, I like using the Ayukin catch because he's doing this just like the Ayukin move. Like he's got to do something like that.
Joey Rowe, clinch by an inch, pick at the stick, fluke to Ayuk. The rhyming plays, man. I'm telling you, that's where it is. People are laughing at me in the chat about my ticket stuff.
Like I said, I didn't pick up. If I had thought of it, I would have hammered you for it. I didn't think of it.
ASDF JKL says it was PI regardless. I don't want anyone saying it was lucky. They picked up the flag. They threw the flag, and then it was like, oh, well, he caught it anyway, so we'll just pick up the flag. That was weird. Like, it could still be a penalty.
It's one of those that if it hadn't been caught, they would have called the penalty.
But, like, it's a penalty whether he catches it or not.
I know, but it's just one of those.
Kyle would have probably denied or declined it anyway because he wants Ayuk and Purdy to get the snap.
And it was pass interference. Ayuk is running straight up, and the defender is running. The defender slows down on purpose to make contact with Ayuk, which is why the defender had the first shot at the ball.
Just looking at some of the stats for the game, 49ers ended up outgaining the Lions on yards per play, 6.3 to 6.1. The Niners had 258 passing yards. The Lions had 260. And the Lions ran for 182. The Niners ended up running for 155. And the Lions had the bulk of that 182 in the first half, too.
Yeah, it was 137, I think, in the first half.
So, yeah, the Niners' run defense really buckled down. Detroit still averaged 6.3 yards per carry, but, you know, in the second half, and the Niners had the advantage in time of possession, over 32 minutes of time of possession.
I think reality is starting to set in at this point to me. Like, wait, I got a flight to book. I got to get to Vegas. Work is going to be mad at me. Like, all that's starting to go through my head. I think it's starting to set in.
So I've got a buddy, my friend Bob, has to travel for work. He was flying to the Netherlands, and he was in the airport like during the game, and he texted me. He said, "Rob, is the game tied? I'm sitting on a plane. I can't tune back in yet." So I was explaining to him what happened. He's like, "That's what I thought just before I boarded. I thought they tied it up." He just texted me, "Holy crap, I just got enough signal to see Christian McCaffrey break one and then Mitchell get the touchdown." He's a little behind, but that is fantastic.
It's a crazy game that's going to be fun to rewatch.
Benjamin Bear says, Lions, sorry to cut you off, Levin.
No,
says,
you're good.
Lions fans were very present and loud, and then with about a minute or so left, they just disappeared. Like, poof, they were all... Because you don't want to stay there if you're a Lion fan and watch the celebration.
No, absolutely not.
Does anybody know, I can't remember, are the Niners going to be in red or white at the Super Bowl?
I think white.
Remember, I think white. I think the Eagles
I think white
next year.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, whatever, man. Just win one more. There is one more game in this football season, and the 49ers are in it. And I know it's Mahomes, and I know it's Kelsey, and I know it's Andy Reid, and all that stuff. But we could do this, Levin. One more win, and we can do this.
Yeah, let's not let Reid ride off into the sunset. Because he might do that if he wins his third.
Yeah, true. Kamish Precosio says, one for Stats 11 and Niner game. LFG. Now one to go for the 6. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it very much. Andre Garibay says white. So we're going with the white jerseys, I think, in the Super Bowl. Sign me 29 is complaining. Guess I need to say it on YouTube for it to count. What are you complaining about, Sign Me 29? I didn't see. There's a lot of chats. I apologize if I missed anybody's chat. I'm doing the best I can here. It's very difficult to host a show and get the chats up. And as Benjamin Bear says, 49ers were just one quarter from winning the last time against Kansas City, but fortunately we no longer have Jimmy G to screw it all up.
Speaking of him, that's one thing I thought of earlier that I never got around to bringing up. A lot of times the host stadium has some of their players show up and commingle, especially when they have like prior history of being on one of the teams. Do we see a Jimmy Garoppolo appearance to the 49ers? Like,
No.
Do you think there's going to be a practice where Jimmy Garoppolo is allowed to be there and, like, you know, meet back up and say hi to the guys?
No, get the hell out. You don't want that. Did you ever see the movie?
I don't want that, but I think it will happen. I think we will see. It will either be like they're at a restaurant or something and it's a photo and Jimmy Garoppolo's in it. There will be a Jimmy Garoppolo sighting, assuming he gets his butt out of Illinois, because we know he's at home right now.
I don't want it. No, I don't want that face looking at my players. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie A Bronx Tale. It's a really old movie, but there's this guy in it called Eddie Mush, and somebody is playing craps, and the big mob boss looks over and says, I don't want him looking at my guy rolling the dice. Get him out of here. Put him in the bleeping bathroom, and they make him go stand in the bathroom. I don't want Jimmy Garoppolo's face interacting with the 49ers. I don't want any.
You don't think Kittle's going to invite him to something?
I mean, look, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. He may be there. He may be doing promo stuff. I have no idea, but I don't want it. I don't like this. Daniel says, I don't want Jimmy around my team. He may pass off some of that anti-clutch juju. Exactly.
I don't want him around the team either, but I'm betting there will be an appearance.
Ben Richards on Twitch says, how's he going to get the invite? He won't answer his phone. Well done, Ben. Well done by you.
Jimmy Garoppolo is he's very much, he's aware of image, put it that way. It's a Super Bowl. He's going to want to have his face in front of things. Waynesy. There we go. I can read. On Twitch says Bronx Tale rules. Andre correct points out it was coffee cake. It wasn't Eddie Mush. It was coffee cake that was looking at the guy, and he's called coffee cake because his face looks like a coffee cake. So I apologize. Thanks for correcting me. It's been a little while since I've seen the movie. Now you don't have the memory superpower. So we just got my math left.
Your math was wrong. NBC Sports tweeted out the graphic. I might be an idiot, but you're an idiot with me.
That's why we make a great pair.
Ooh, I'm seeing this on Twitch. Bender Rodriguez says McCaffrey said he might not have been able to grip the ball, and that's why Mitchell was in. He must have got a stinger or something that was messing with him.
Might have got numb.
Yeah.
Might have had his grip go numb.
How about Christian McCaffrey, full suit after the game?
Is he?
Shanahan said apparently the Niners sideline couldn't tell what happened on the Ayuk wild catch.
Ooh, I like this comment. Sergio Gutierrez says, Bronx Tale. This is Brock's Tale now.
Hey now. Love it.
That's the type of puns I like to see.
Bring the pun game. We got 2 weeks. I like to see it. Christian McCaffrey says, we have a really resilient group that's been through a lot together. Look, I have to say, if they're in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, when they're in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, Mahomes gets up early. They've got this now. They've got this. Excuse me, I'm drinking a lot of beer. They've got this resilience to come back in these games. It's only going to help them.
I just had a terrible thought. If we want a gold standard GSN meetup, let's do a Toy Story watch party.
How about no, you crazy bastard?
I'll even let you watch Toy Story 3 since you think it's the best.
It is the best one, and everyone knows it. My
wife agrees with you, by the way.
Benjamin Bear says, is anyone crediting the Journey halftime performance during the turnaround? Why are we doing halftime shows for championship games?
I don't know. That song, by the way, mentions Detroit, so I don't think it was the best of picks.
Joe on YouTube says it was Eddie Mush, not coffee cake. You were right, Rob. So maybe my
controversy. We got some controversy. Maybe we'll do a Bronx Tale watch party.
Well, let me tell you, you would enjoy it because it was Eddie Mush. I just Googled it. It was Eddie Mush. There you go. I was right. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. OEP says, Levin, that sounds terrible.
White says, Levin, yes.
Yeah. Andre points out that they were rubbing Christian McCaffrey's neck. He has 2 weeks to get ice, acupuncture, and his wife can massage him. Christian McCaffrey will be fine. Look, I'll give him my neck. Whatever it takes. We need him on the field, man. We absolutely need Christian McCaffrey on the field. McCaffrey said his shoulder, quote, felt a little weird at the game's end, and he didn't want to rush losing his grip on the ball. That's why Elijah Mitchell got the late carries. McCaffrey said the shoulder's not an issue. Quote, I feel fine now. It was probably a stinger. Stingers, your arm can go numb, or you could have pain that goes down your arm, and it can last for 5 minutes. It could last for a day. It could last for a week. It's just random. But hopefully, like Christian McCaffrey says, he's okay. So that's good.
All right. First off, sticking to that, Sign Me 29 says, give him Frank Gore's neck. I like that. But I wanted to stay on the injury front. Jason Kime says, have you talked about how Debo was just fine for this game? He looked to be 100%. He played, but there was one play. I don't know if you noticed it. He got tackled. He walked off the field with his shoulder kind of dead, and he was trying to shake it out, and he actually went and kind of grabbed his shoulder and tried to rub it at one point. So he's definitely not 100%, but he managed to get through the game. So I think it's a pain management thing for him.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he wasn't 100%. Shout out to Debo for absolutely doing the damn thing and getting right and coming back into the game. He's just a football player, man. When you saw his press conference and they were like, how do you protect yourself? And he said, I ain't protecting nothing.
Yeah.
Reminded me of Clubber Lang in the Rocky movies. What's your prediction for the fight? Pain. Yeah. And then the guy goes, hard words from a hard man. That's one of my favorite things ever. Bender Rodriguez says, we're giving Twitch love now. We always give Twitch love, Bender.
I want to go on a tangent here because you brought up Clubber Lang. It's one of my all-time favorite casting stories.
All right, quickly.
So Mr. T was a boxer. And if you know the Rocky movies, they always try to go find a boxer who can act. They contacted his manager and said, can he act? And he goes, oh, yeah, he actually took acting classes in college. Or so, I can't remember exactly what they said. He said he was a trained actor. And they said, okay, well, we want to cast him for this movie. And they said, well, his fight schedule, he won't be ready for 6 months. And they agreed to it. And then they sent him to acting lessons for 6 months because he had never acted in anything.
Dude, that's like life, though, right? Like, just say yes to stuff. Get your foot in the door. Pat McAfee always tells the story of how when he was drafted or before he got drafted, the Colts were like, hey, can you hold? Have you been a holder? And he's like, oh, yeah, no problem. Yep, absolutely. So they drafted him to hold, and he had never held before in his life. And Adam Vinatieri gets in touch with him, and he's like, Adam, I've never held before. I totally lied to the Colts to get drafted. I've never done it before in my life. And Adam Vinatieri was like, are you out of your freaking mind? He's like, you're not jeopardizing my career because you don't know how to hold. And he sent Pat McAfee to like holding summer camp, basically. And he got trained by somebody. I can't remember who it was. But like, just say yes to stuff, man. And you figure it out along the way.
Yeah, like attending a football game, for instance. Like, you find, oh, wow, this really is kind of amazing. Or, like hosting a show with some random guy that you thought was Latin America at first because you thought his last name was Guerrero.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you remember that. I actually did text you that at one point. I asked you, I was like, so are you like Mexican, South American? What are you? And you're like, no, I'm Italian. Like, oh, it's Guerrera. Guerrero.
Florence Lynn says, very cool to see Montana celebrating with the rest of the team tonight. Ben Richards says, stats, words of wisdom, just lie, kids. Hey, all I'm saying is sometimes when opportunity knocks, you got to answer the door and you figure it out. When I was an intern at ESPN, they asked me to do all sorts of stuff. I always said yes. And then I would go to somebody on the side and be like, hey, how do I do this? How do I run the control board? How do I produce a show? Just say yes, man. And you figure it out.
Like wearing a weird costume and having a photo that pops up on a Google search.
I think we've gone on long, an hour and 45 minutes, long enough.
That's how I found it. I was trying to find your IMDb page, and I typed in Rob Guerrera IMDb, and I looked for photos, and it was like, or I didn't look for photos. I like suggests photos sometimes at the top. That was like the second photo. I was like, whoa, hold on here. I need to save that one.
So that's it. 49ers get the 34-31 win. We are going to the damn Super Bowl, baby. Hell yeah. I cannot wait. It is going to be awesome. And we are
now we just need our credential, NFL.
I've already requested.
I've seen some of the people get them, and we got larger audiences than some of them.
I've re-requested the credential during this show. I have done it. So the request is in. So fingers crossed. Let's hope we get that. But we are going to Vegas. I'll figure it out. We're going. That is happening. We got to book flights. Thank you to everybody. Again, if you are new to the channel, there's still 800 people watching this. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe to the channel. I promise you we will earn your time. We're live every single weekday. We'll be live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time. We're going to go drive by drive through this game and break it down for you. I'll be with Vish Kumar and doing that. Please hit the little bell so you get notified every time we go live. Just give us a chance. That's all I'm asking for. The Niners are in the Super Bowl now. Give us a chance. I promise you, you will like the content that we produce. Just give us that chance. We won't let you down.
Absolutely. Subscribe if you haven't. If you're watching this and it's already pre-recorded, hit the subscribe button.
Amen. Simon29 says, how late will Vish be tomorrow? It doesn't matter. I'm starting right at 10 a.m., so he better get in there.
10 a.m. What time zone, Rob?
Pacific, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I'm not great with time. I'm not going to lie. Anyway, Levin, thank you for so much of your time. I appreciate it. Go Niners. We're in the damn Super Bowl, baby. One more, and let's finish this thing off. Have a good rest of your Sunday. We'll talk tomorrow.